What is going on? Jason Julius here with another episode of the Julius Files, Entrepreneurial Chronicles, and I have honestly a very special episode here this time. If you watch actually any of the video, you can actually see that apparently the laughter is going to start right off the bat.
I'm sorry, I was cupping my microphone,
No,
and he was a little worried about that.
Sorry. Cupping. Okay, no problem. Okay, so getting right into it, we have a very special episode because, again, you know that I like to Entrepreneurial Chronicles, and I'm all big about accountability and eyes wide open and principles of success, both in business and in life. And many people get to entrepreneurship through different paths. And the lady that we have coming on today actually works with me, not for me. With me. She is, let's say, she is a solopreneur, but I have known her for quite a long time. And when I brought her on to assist and write some copy for me, because she is one of the best that I know, I then digitally introduced her to my team. And I do happen to have them here because they have communicated with her through texting and messaging, but they have never actually met her. And she came into town. So I thought, well, not only is this a great opportunity to do a podcast with her so that she could tell her own story, this was a great opportunity for everybody to actually be met and introduced. Because Master Blaster, Matt Bradshaw here, likes to say that he doesn't even know she exists, that he's still waiting for, in fact, physical proof that she exists. That sound about right, Matt?
That's about accurate.
Okay. So it's been an ongoing running joke, while at the same time, we have our galactic demigoddess and our bougie blonde here that have both been communicating with Tiffany for quite some time, but they have never actually been able to put a face to the individual. And the oddball thing is that, like, Dawn and Trish are like polar opposites. Like, you're not like they are not the same women. They are completely different women, but Tiffany has literally been able to actually develop quite the rapport and relationship with both of them, and that is to speak to her complexity and how she is able to associate with different personalities and gel and resonate and find different ways of developing relationships with all types of different personalities in general. So before I actually bring her in here, I do want to say that while we've got everybody here has their nickname, Tiffany has her own nickname, and I mean, I'm like, that when I met this chick, I was like, how can you, it's so awesome. I will get to that in a second. But before, I want to give my crew a chance to weigh in or make any statements before I actually bring Tiffany in here to meet them. Is there anything anybody wants to bring up, say, or otherwise?
I feel like you're staring at me. Why are you looking at me?
Well, because honestly, I know definitively that Trish has developed quite the connection with Tiffany. Like, this is one of those true deep pen pal relationships that's why it's kind of momentous, because they have such a pen pal relationship that they're actually meeting each other for the first time. If it can be all zappy and get down to but the point is that they both, I think, share a level of appreciation for sarcasm that allows them to gel well with each other. Would you say that that's a fair statement in general?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Tiffany is awesome. She's really special. We've developed quite the relationship just via Messenger. We video chat occasionally, stuff like that. From what I can see, she's definitely a bad bitch, and I have the utmost respect for her.
There we go, because, I mean, I will be the first to say as we've moved through and had a couple issues that I've talked about injecting Trish into an in particular team. And when they asked me about her, I was like, yeah, she's a bad bitch. She's not, I wouldn't mess with her, wouldn't want to meet her in a dark alley, and she don't play.
That's for sure.
That's Dawn. But then we have our bougie blonde, which is like heavy on creative, heavy on decorating, and she has actually on her own been able to resonate with Tiffany quite well. Do you have anything that you want to say before I bring her in?
I'm super excited.
Okay.
To meet her. I follow her on Facebook. We have a lot of the same views. So I'm super excited to meet her.
And I will say that as a little bit of a background, like I needed a good copywriter. And I mean, there's a lot of copywriters out there, but finding a really good, talented copywriter is hard to come by. And we will definitely let you know where you can find Tiffany when it comes to social. But the point is that we met, I don't know, probably a decade ago. But I've always followed her online, and I loved her posting and her snarkiness and the way that she just used words to deliver messages. And I finally reached out to her to say, hey, I'm putting all this together, and I really love your copywriting ability and your creativity. Would you be willing to do some work for me? And at the end of the day, my personal brand and in all likelihood, the copy that will be written for these podcasts themselves are actually being written by Tiffany. And it's one of those where I don't put much thought into it. I literally let the woman run with it. And she's been solid all the way through. So without further ado, I will bring Tiffany in to meet the group.
Well, hurry up.
I do want to state this, that because Tiffany has her own nickname. So when I bring her in to introduce her, I will introduce her by her formal, well-known nickname. So I will be right back.
So here we are patiently waiting for Jason to take his sweet time.
As we watch sleet coming down outside the window.
And a war forming.
And a war forming on the eastern side of Europe.
Absolutely.
Shit is about to go down.
It's already going down. We won't get into that because I'll go.
Turbulent day here.
But everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
We're doing a podcast.
We're doing a fucking podcast like a brand.
It was very rushed. You have hours to set this up and plan.
No, we did it in 5 minutes.
We had about 7 minutes to set everything up here.
But that's because we're the team that will eat your team for lunch, remember? That's what we're supposed to be.
We are.
That is what he says.
That is it. Yay!
Hey! Hi. How are you?
Good. I'm real.
She does exist.
It does exist.
Nice to meet you.
Get that ass. Yes. How are you? Oh, I miss you so much. I'm just seeing your pretty face online. Oh, I'd make out with you. It's probably not appropriate.
Maybe we can hang out later, totally. Down to tongue kisses.
I think there might be a level of sincerity there. I mean, even in spite of the actual gossip and play. Okay, so this is the great part of this, because I mean, I just totally, I couldn't let it go. So to the world out there that is listening, I want to introduce Bacon.
What's up? So Bacon's on?
I mean, like, when I heard that, I'm like, how can you not appreciate a chick that's got a nickname of Bacon? I mean, like...
And then I'm all petite, so everyone's thinking I'm going to be a hog or a hoss. You know, when I say my nickname's Bacon, then I'm just this little bitty thing.
Yep, exactly. That's better. So you got to pull that up, because you are soft-spoken, although very loud with your written words, but we got to make sure that we actually get you into the mic so that we hear that tonality. Okay, so let's just dive right in, because, I mean, the cool thing, what I always admired about Bacon was that everybody has their own entrepreneurial journey. They all find their own pathway for different reasons, for different ways. But the reality is, in this day and age, like, regular old run-of-the-mill copywriters are being replaced by AI. Like it's just, I'll be honest and say, like, if you just want to be a run-of-the-mill copywriter, you should really pick a different career, because AI is replacing you fast. It is only leaving room for the absolute best of the best when it comes to copywriting. But this has been a personal dream of yours for a long time. You are what I would consider to be a solopreneur. And it's one of those where, through a lot of trial and errors and determination, you have chased your dream and been very diligent about it. Because if you hadn't been diligent about it for the last 10 years plus, I would not have I've known you, but it wouldn't have popped into my head, hey, I can bring this talent to the table for me. So yes, let's hear the story of Bacon, because I know, like, when it comes to Facebook, you will from time to time post a quote unquote shameless selfie, but you don't really do any video. And I know a lot of people think they know you, but we know they don't know you. But that's what this podcast is, an opportunity for them to.
Just for shit posting.
You're right, but as a podcast, this is an opportunity for anybody that truly wants to know a little bit more about bacon. Right here's where it is. You're gonna lay it all out for them and let them know how a 5'11", as Trish said, four. I'm sorry, four. That would be wrong. Okay, I stand corrected. Stand corrected. That's definitely painting the opposite picture. 4'11", not even 100 pounds, dripping wet. But as Trish says, a bad bitch, and I will your work speaks for itself. But
fucked around and forgot that I was supposed to grow. I was too busy being a bed.
Is that what it was?
My
Okay.
body didn't catch up with the rest of
I mean, you know all that stuff that you eat or drink that puts hair on your chest. You're like, no, nothing. Yeah. Okay, so the spotlight is on you. Tell us where you came from, how you came to be, and how you got where you are. Where, from my perspective, you've earned a lot of respect in the copywriting industry.
Yeah, for sure. So I started out, I was raised by just my dad out in the middle of nowhere. And so I think that's where I got a lot of my work ethic from, is just dealing with him. He was a no-fuss engineer, had his shit together, and I had to as well.
So blue collar background.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Gosh, I don't even know where to begin. So I had a couple of kids, and I wound up kind of being fucked, more or less. And so I was actually dancing and doing some things that, just dancing is not really what I wanted to do at all. It's not a career choice. So I set myself up on a 2-year time span and gave myself this envelope budgeting system. And so in 1 year, 11 months, and 9 days, I walked out of there. So I had about $5,000 in savings. I had everything paid off. And whatever I made that night was what I went over to Walmart with and bought my first computer.
Okay, so, and because I want to know, had you read anything when it come to the system that you created, or was it just instinctual? Because there already right off the bat, she's bringing a lesson to the table that if you actually want to move forward with anything to success, you're going to have to write and execute a system. Yeah. And she put a system in place and a time frame for executing that system to actually get it done.
Yeah, because I like to kick my own ass and figure out what it is that takes me to motivate. And so when I was in the situation that I was in, it was obviously not an ideal situation. And it really wasn't where I saw the trajectory of my life going. And I was just in college and gotten into an accident and wasn't able to finish. And I found myself doing this bullshit. And it was like, this can't be how this ends. And so I've always really wanted to do writing and something creative my whole life. But when you're in Kokomo, there's not a lot of opportunities unless you make them. And that's one of the things I like about Kokomo, is that you have the network of people where you can make those things happen, but you just have to know where to dig. And
big, small town.
Yeah, and you have to have enough, balls to do something, even though there's really not a lot of return in the beginning. So the first I'd say probably the first 2 years, I probably wrote for shit. I mean, I'd stay up from morning until night writing my ass off and would only make a couple $100 the week. So, but I wanted it so bad I just kept going. So I created this system that I have, but mostly instinctually. But as I go, I do a little bit of research to find what I needed to find. But yeah, other than that, it's just pretty much me being stubborn and not really wanting to work for anybody.
There's that word again. I'm telling you, it's going to work. I'm developing an apparel line, and it is going to be based around stubborn, because I think that the stubborn represents and resonates with a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. So yes, so you're doing jobs and you're making a couple $100, which obviously isn't paying the bills.
No, and everybody kept telling me, this isn't a real job, get a real job, get a real job. And I thought, well, there's no reason it can't be. And then I figured, well, what is it that makes it not a real job? And then I just went in and kicked those things' asses and made it a fucking real job.
And solve problems for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why the nickname Bacon, that's where that came from. Because bacon makes everything better. So true. You sprinkle it on a salad and it's an entree,
Mm-hmm. No, and you're hitting the nail on the head right there. So I do want to say that, a really good copywriter is capable of being pretty diverse in the work itself. What would you say are some of the different industries that you have done copy for, and then what are your favorites that you do copy for?
So a little background. When I was growing up, I wanted to do everything. So I knew that, like, if I wanted to be bald, I'd also have to have real long hair. And if I wanted to do this, then I have to do the opposite. So I knew that in one lifetime, I wouldn't be able to finish all those things. And it's sort of what gave me the inspiration to be a writer, because you can sort of, I don't know, adopt, I guess, different personas or perspectives and write on those. And so I really enjoy that. And through doing that, I have grown a portfolio that is quite interesting. So some of the different industries that I work in. So obviously I'm working with you, which is like the food industry, a little bit of branding, entrepreneurship, and I have a couple of clients that I do that with. I also do a lot with like CNC and manufacturing. And so I understand.
So you're writing technical copy because, I mean, how are you able to put the bacon touch on writing about CNC manufacturing
That's the thing,
equipment?
because CNC and manufacturing is quite stale. And especially for people who really aren't in the industry and are looking for information, if you look at what everybody else has, it's pretty cut and dry and run-of-the-mill. And so a lot of people do a lot of scrolling or ignoring it. So I like to add a little bit of personality. So one of my specialties is to take this complex subject matter and put it into terms that people like me or you who don't have any experience with CNC would then walk away from it and be like, oh shit, that's not that fucking complicated.
Okay, now
So that's like
for
my-
clarification, I do actually have quite a lot of experience with CNCs. 14 years at Chrysler, I had plenty of time pushing those buttons 1,000 times a day. But I completely, in layman's terms, getting the complicated broke down into the basic in a way that you understand and will actually capture your attention.
So that skill spills over into some of the other clients that I have too. So I do a lot of mental health, things like that, and explaining different mental health conditions, and that bled into relationships. And then I do a couple things for a sex toy company.
I recall having a conversation with you a couple years ago about how you were exploring being a sex therapist.
Well, yeah, that was something that one of my clients was trying to push me to do because of the quality of my writing. He thought that if I really had an education behind this, I could make a big difference. And so it's something that I played with, not literally. But yeah, so I thought about doing something like that. I really do enjoy helping people with relationships. I think that relationships are the foundation of pretty much everything that you do. So if you can work on that and make that stronger, I think everything benefits from it.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I don't know that. Like I can give great relationship advice. I don't know that I take it real well, but I mean, but I can give really good relationship advice.
You see it from the outside; it's way different. So I actually work for one company. It's a Christian sex toy company. If you can niche your way through that, and so everyone.
Yeah, do tell. That's
Is that allowed?
Yeah. So that's one of the articles I had to write. Actually, it was whether or not sex toys were allowed in a Christian marriage.
well, no, but wait a minute. Let's dig into that. Just because you're a Christian does not mean that you should not be looking at levels of intimacy
Yeah, and
with
from
your
a biblical
partner.
perspective, it actually says in the Bible that you're supposed to satisfy each other's needs to keep each other from wanting other things. And so it's your job as the man to use your wife's bosom for comfort, and then it is the wife's duty to like fulfill those things and back and forth so that each other don't go fuck everybody else. Because even God knows what's up.
Which is where toys come in to actually make it, I guess, to not be dry and stale and rekindle those fires.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah.
I use a lot of biblical backing for that because there are quite a few Christian couples, I think, that are still just missionary all the time. And I think that's just terrible. And I believe that might have something to do with the large number of divorces.
And I'm not going to disagree with that because I'm sitting here thinking that, I mean, any level that you can spice things up so that your partner pays attention to you, that's that keeping that fire, that flame lit, that attractiveness, and that leads towards a healthy relationship. I mean, I've long said that like everything costs in life except sex. I mean, like it doesn't cost money, or I guess it could cost money, but I mean, it does not, in essence, cost money to literally have sex. If two partners are together living in life, about anything that you're actually going to do is going to cost money. But intimacy behind closed doors, that's not money, that's effort, and it's pleasurable
Being able to
effort for.
explain that stuff to Christians who are otherwise pretty pent up when it comes to sexual stuff.
Vanilla.
It takes some flair.
Yeah. So they start vanilla, and you're finding out how to add a little bit of color.
I'm spraying some sprinkles on that shit.
No, I mean like sprinkles or like dollops.
Probably dollops by the time I get done with them. I'm going from people who have never used a sex toy at all and trying to go all the way to the point where I'm convincing men about prostate massage. Like it's
Really?
yeah. So we're walking people through the process. And
Well-
I'm using some of the experience I have with mental health and I guess machining.
I
just kind of want to crank it.
Touche.
Just kind of want to crank it.
Yeah, that's press this button 10 times, turn this wheel to the left.
That's just one of the clients I have. So every time I tell people that, it winds up being the whole of the conversation. So yeah, it's just very fascinating, I think. I even had one client who sent me boxes of his toys so that I could look at them and touch them with my hands, take pictures, and then write about what I thought about them.
Well, but I mean, the thing is I mean, don't get me wrong, at almost 47 now, I'm sitting there going, I mean, being married and like there is cheap ass toys that are out there, and then there are more
Luxury.
There you go. We'll go with that luxury, state of the art type toys that are
They're
out there.
using
And
science and ergonomics and all this stuff to pinpoint different parts and be able to do all this stuff versus just your run of the mill latex fifi.
yeah, one and done's. I mean, like one time use and been like you either like it or you didn't, but it doesn't matter. You're gonna throw that shit away because it was like
And I
it
think
wasn't,
that's why everybody has
wasn't
sort
built
of
for durability.
And they got a lot of negative connotations too because of the cheap shit that came out at first. Remember those cheap, what were they, like those plastic blow-up dolls with like the face, like the perma face like that.
Come on, Trish, chime into this because
I was just thinking about the whole thing where I posted the other day about this guy cheated on his blow-up doll.
Oh God, I saw
his
that.
sex doll.
Yeah.
And he felt bad because he cheated on her.
I was like,
Well,
even these blow-up bitches aren't safe.
She was at the repair shop,
can't take
and his sex doll. He decided that I guess she had spent too much time at the repair shop, so he cheated on her.
like they
This
have a
bitch.
sex doll repair shop.
That's what I was hung up on.
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
the
just like
entrepreneur we need to talk to.
Yes.
yeah, that doesn't hurt. They say
like-
somebody's there fixing a problem, but the problem that they're fixing it might be getting into biohazard territory.
Stuff.
Well, that's what they're talking about, like refurbishing these dolls.
Okay.
They're trying to use them because I mean, some of them are anywhere between $3,000, $5,000.
No, I mean that's as
Would you use a
the
refurbished
quality.
sex doll, though?
Well, I gotta laugh, and I do
She's
want
got-
to.
I mean, she's still got good mileage on
But I mean,
her.
so was those girls down the street. So I mean,
No, but I mean, because we can go because there are some people that are going to be like, no, I want the brand new model. And there's going to be somebody else that's going to be like,
want that
no, I want that
used at
motherfucker
Ford."
broke in. I want to like so the used will end up having some.
Exactly. They don't make the legs open the same now. It's different. Yeah.
Lots of personal stuff
Okay,
there.
so no, I gotta bring our bougie blonde into this because I'm watching her eyebrows just totally like cringe, like
Yeah,
like
this
this
is
is
why I hate
like
that you asked me that question because like this is gonna
in
fucking
the
derail.
unknown territory. But you know what? That we go down rabbit holes. We got many rabbit holes that we can go down, but we got to bring Dawn into this.
Why?
Why?
There's no holes she's
Because
going
you're a
down.
woman. I
I'm
mean,
not
how are
going
you?
down any hole.
No,
No,
She's not interested in your holes, Jason.
no. I don't even know where to. I mean, I can't. I don't know what to say to all that. That is all. I might be a little greener than.
Oh no!
I'd
So
like
so
to
you
admit.
would be I guess I don't want to say stereotypical because I don't like the titles, but I'm thinking
Dare call me anything to do
a
with stereotypes.
conservative vanilla
Things are escalating.
Christian woman.
Vanilla's got a pretty negative connotation.
Yeah. I
Well,
would
no,
say
I
that.
mean, I don't think
I
it shouldn't.
wouldn't call
It
myself
shouldn't because
vanilla.
I'm like, you think about it where like vanilla is like, okay, like that's missionary vanilla.
Okay.
And then you have varying levels on the
wait, I think
spectrum of kinky, but I
Where's
mean,
my drink? Because I'm gonna need it.
oh my Lord.
Let me just tell you, I'm not that naive. No, we're not going with vanilla. I don't like it.
It's private. It's a private thing.
Yeah,
No,
it is.
and-
All of it is, yes.
No, I enjoy.
Getting down with the get down.
I enjoy.
Have
Jesus
sex.
criminy, I think this is
I don't know
way
what
hard.
to say.
This is why I need a drink. But no, I enjoy sex, and I'm definitely not just standard missionary. I wouldn't say that at all. But the talking about it is a little different. From
Yeah,
A little
and
bit, creates a little bit of
I have,
anxiety
like
for
too,
you.
I have to be able to introduce the subjects to people who are like,
Well-
it's not that I'm against it. It's just like talking about it in open conversation seems a little fucking weird to
And
me.
for me, I'm always in professional mode, and so switching
Well, and
back
see,
and forth.
and
Imagine
the thing
that
is-
being your professional mode.
No,
Shit.
but for
I
me,
would be-
I'm always in curious mode and curiosity because I'm like, this is the interesting. Like vanilla, we're all familiar with vanilla ice cream, but
I thought
you
were
start
gonna say
adding
vanilla
some
ice.
flavor.
Why
I'm
did
like,
you look
yeah,
at me?
I-
No,
I-
I'm saying all the way across. No, that's not even. I know where you're going.
That camera caught
That's
it.
not
No.
fair. That's not the point. Is that when you when you change the flavor up a little bit, that's when things become interesting, and talking about it and becoming comfortable with it is what.
Yeah, and if bacon makes everything better, then I gotta hit the G spot too. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, that's what. Literally and figuratively.
It's like, you know,
Dawn said hell to the no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying anything.
Don's like,
Quit picking on
that's
me.
right. I'm speechless.
Jesus, this is why we should have drinks at these, because I would be blowing this all up,
Oh.
but I can't.
So you
I
want
gotta
to
get out of professional.
you want to
mode.
embrace the Freaky Friday concept is what you're
I
wanting
just
to.
Thursday.
I requested
Oh,
Thursday,
Thursday, Thursdays. Okay.
I wanted to bring.
on the phone. I requested that we
I
have
planned
tequila
on-
for margaritas.
see, that would have been, oh my God, the shit that would have come out of my mouth then.
The
It would've been
shit that
such
would
a
have come out of my
quality-
mouth then.
Quality
Yeah,
podcast.
see all
been
that
a big
creative.
time.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so I mean, the thing is all of you have been working with Miss Bacon for a good
I have not.
a good clip. You've been involved in the
We had
communications.
I think one conversation.
One conversation.
Okay.
Are you real? And I was like, yes, I am. And he's like, bullshit. And I'm like, all right,
And then she
touche.
didn't respond.
I wanted to make sure I honed it in for him, just to give him something to think
Okay,
about.
so part of this though was that I wanted all of you to be here, but I'm like, if you have questions, I mean, I promise you, this woman is not shy. So feel free to fire away with any questions that you might actually have for her.
I wasn't created to be shy. I was created to be bacon and make shit better.
Yeah, it's just not, and your physical stature didn't grow to that.
Yeah, that physical stature thing. I hear about that all the time.
I know that's just to say. Do we want to talk about your age? I mean,
probably not unless you want to die today.
Okay,
I know.
no,
I was
okay.
getting ready to say I'll go across this table at you.
Things are really
No, but that's
I'm like,
not.
don't even. No, never ask a woman her age.
No, that's just like total proper
Shut it
etiquette. You
down.
never ask a woman her
Yeah,
age.
if I wanted you to know my age, I wouldn't take enough time to do my makeup.
Oh,
I'm saying,
oh.
I'd just
Right,
shut the
I mean-
fuck
Is
up.
that what it is? Okay, no. Hey, I mean, I'll learn my place, so that's fine.
That's right, know your place.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I'm 37. I just wanted to make sure you knew where you stand.
No,
first.
I do. Trust me. I understand. If I have a fear, it's like fear of mutiny. I mean, like when you have a bunch of women bearing down on you, do you know when to just shut up and kind of let it? I mean, we're definitely a female heavy organization, so there are times when I do back it down a little bit. Mainly because if I look to support and Matt's in the room, I know he's going to side with them. So it's
He's
like
not
I don't
stupid.
have any actual
Yeah.
support
I mean,
in the
do you
matter.
blame him?
He's
No,
a smart
but-
man.
We're the ones who's right all the time.
I was born this way.
Yep, that's it.
That's right.
And the thing is, it's a good thing she's sitting next to you and not me, because when you asked that, I would have been like, yeah.
This is not fair.
It is fair.
There's context here. Her and I had a conversation last night, and she was like, "Can you believe that I'm 37? Do I look like I'm 37?" Obviously not. She does not look like she's 37, and I assured her that when she got to 50, she'd still pass for 35.
Yep.
She is a very petite woman that is aging gracefully, and 37 is not necessarily like you know what, breaking
27 was
40
funner,
is when.
though, I'm just saying.
What's that?
27 was a lot funner. Though.
26 was the year that sticks out in my head of me really.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I think it was that on the backside, like you're not early 20s. 25 is still the end of the early 20s. 26 is like
You're not
okay.
really an adult, so you get that discount on your insurance.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Being able to rent a car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then now you're a full-grown adult, and
Mm-hmm.
then that life begins. And then you're 37.
It
Writing about
just
sex
like
stories.
that. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, but let's get to the actual writing side of it, because when I first met you, you're a published author.
Yeah.
I mean, you have in fact
I have
written
a
a book.
that are published for me, and then I've got over a dozen that I have ghostwritten, and then probably a dozen more that I'm the editor for. I just don't tell that to a lot of people because I want to see their authentic self, and I don't want them to treat me differently because of that, especially hometown people. And so a lot of people don't even know what the fuck I get into. So I like it that way.
So there's a celebrity aspect there, or a pseudo personality that
Yeah,
you
I've got a Facebook page with over 1 million followers that I don't let anybody know about.
really.
Yeah.
And you don't. Okay, that's wow.
Bad bitch energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, if you want to get right down into that, the funny thing is that I apparently, I don't know about this Facebook page that's got 1 million followers, but I know of 2 Facebook pages she had, because Facebook got pissed off and shut her down. So she went and created another Facebook page so that
got
when she
several.
shut down the second one, they released the first one so that she could pop back and forth with keeping her smart ass copy
Yeah,
still
so
coming.
The Baconovsky O'Houlihan thing comes in because in some of my professional realms, I use my obviously my name, Tiffany Grandstaff or whatever, and so if they looked me up and saw some of the shit I post, I'm not sure that aligns with the brands I'm supposed to be representing in professional world. So I keep Tiffany and Bacon in 2 separate worlds so that I can shit post all day long.
So is this a persona or a split personality?
I don't know. It depends on who asks.
Exactly.
Well, actually, it's a persona, and it's not even the same gender.
Okay.
So it's actually a man.
Really?
Yes.
There. Now we're getting interesting. That's
Because
fascinating.
It's because it all started with me writing for this sex toy company, and from the perspective of a man and what a man would want from these different things.
So you literally have had to put yourself in
Yes.
the mindset of
And
not just putting on a strap on, but looking and feeling like this is a permanent attachment.
I
What
had
would this
to-
inspire in words?
I had to empathetically make myself into a man who might be interested in this product or something, and what it is that would make him interested and what would keep him interested, what he might experience or feel or think, and I have to write from that perspective. And there's
That's
some people-
actor shit right there.
Yeah, there's
That's
some people who have read the stuff and been like, I would never fucking guess that a girl was writing this, and I'm like, yep, fuck yeah.
then you're getting into character in general.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we want to, although like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, you can talk about it. It always sells. But what about some other interesting projects or industries that you've worked in?
Yeah, so right now I'm working with some entrepreneurs in Ghana, Africa. And so they have this thing called the Hustle Builder, and you can go online. It's a pretty big website. So I'm helping them build the Hustle Builder, which is teaching people in Africa and Ghana some of the secrets that people use in America, the home of opportunity. What types of things do we use? And they're teaching that to the people in Ghana who are basically just now getting internet access and just now learning this stuff. They're not even ready for it.
So you're writing copy for these people.
I'm writing not just copy, but I'm writing like brochures and articles and little ebooks and things that we can pass out, educational material.
Okay, well, come on, teacher. I'm a student. Come on. What are some successes in America when it comes to entrepreneurship that are
Well,
being carried over?
One of the things that I just got done discussing with some of my readers was about how one man's trash is another man's treasure,
Okay.
and how you can find entrepreneurial opportunities off of failures from other people. So one of the examples that I used from them was, if I can remember correctly, and this has been like 3 weeks since I wrote it, so it was something about like, I think it was like old cars or something like that. And in Ghana, one of the big things they have is they have all these older style cars and all these older models. They haven't got any of the new stuff yet. And a lot of them are just on the edge of town and like just in the middle of town, broken down and stuff. And so I was teaching these people about the entrepreneurial value between like scrap metaling and refurbishing cars and what tools and things they could use and where to get the resources to learn all this stuff.
Well, and solving problems
Yeah.
too, because obviously it
I know
doesn't matter
that's the
how
best
old.
example, but that's the only one I can think
No. But I mean, like I said, that you get into areas like that. If all the cars are sitting there broken down, well, that's just clogging up commerce, which
Exactly.
opens the door for entrepreneurship for somebody to come in and actually solve a problem. I mean, interesting.
We're teaching those people how to get their feet wet in the entrepreneurial world and try to turn Ghana at least into a bit of a metropolis, or at least something a little bit more productive.
Well, and I mean, because I know that there is a lot of people that specialize in giving those micro loans in different countries to people.
Yeah, so then I also work with angel investors. So I'm a branding, I'm the managing editor for a branding agency.
Okay.
And a lot of our clients are angel investing companies or these entrepreneurs who are self-made, and we're branding them. So we're doing all the content and things to help them brand. And one of them is for something like that. And it's totally something that I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about now. So yeah, my brain goes so many different places. But yeah, so everything sort of just created this umbrella of this company that I have. And so when people ask me, well, what do you write about? And it's like, well, it's past that point now where I don't just write this, that, or the other. Like each one of my clients blends with the other or serves off of the back of the other or something like that, which is sort of what we were talking about with you last night. About how it started as coffee and pizza, and then now it's got graphic design, and it's got this, and it's got that, and they all sort of scratch each other's back, and it works out. So, yeah, it's interesting stuff. And I get to be funny and, be myself and use my personality to make money. So.
No, and we were talking about that last night, too, so we can get into this piece of it. So, one of the things that I loved about her copy was that, she can get down and dirty with her copy. I appreciated it because that shit resonates with me. But you look at the people right now that have already developed their personal brands, and they've already got millions of followers, and you see them truly, authentically being themselves because they've already got the following, so they can post everything and it organically actually
building clout is a son of a bitch.
Yes, because they put so many breaks where it's like, in a certain respect, when I talked to Trish, she had to call you and say, okay, we have to knock some of this off because today they are strapping our hands behind our back, and they're not.
It's a catch-22 because you can't move forward unless you can do that, and that's the only way to gather people's attention is by being different like that. So you really have to have a copywriter who can find the notes in between in the music.
And that notes in between is exactly it, because I'm not going to deny, I am me. I come from a factory background, and cussed like a sailor, and I've dialed it down 5 notches, but I am me, and I want it to, if it comes out naturally, well, then it comes out naturally. But when I go to actually put my content out on Facebook or Instagram, or, for TikTok for that matter, I've gotten flagged for profanity because I might be offending somebody. Yeah, exactly. And all it takes is one ridiculous word.
Especially if you're trying to catch the attention of the culture.
Yep.
You're going to want to use cultural terms and cultural things, and these social media platforms really restrict you from being able to communicate to people on a level that you would in person. Don't get me wrong, because the thing is on a bigger level, it gets under my nerves let's say it gets under my nerves. It gets under my skin and it gets on my nerves because the same people that were arguing for freedom of speech back in the 60s are the same people arguing for censorship now. Do that meme that says Facebook be like, what's on your mind, and then block you for saying it.
Exactly. Because heaven forbid we might offend somebody's feelings, which is about generally like a muscle. You build muscles by tearing them down and building them back up.
Never been shit, won't ever be shit.
Saying shit is, oh my God, it might actually offend somebody. And it has been a challenge where I want to be me, but I've had to tone it down.
Yeah. Well, I was doing that work I was telling you about for the Auto Blow company. I was doing their entire blog and stuff like that, and a lot of my blogs, I'm just writing freehand, using F-bombs and this, that, and there because it's what sounds right. That's how people say it.
That's exactly.
And then they would go back and be like, "Can you replace this with something else?" I'm like, "That I have to rewrite the whole fucking sentence then because it's not going to sound right. It's going to sound like someone trying to sound right, and then they're going to read through that bullshit and be like, next."
And that you're fake because it's not genuine.
Yeah, look at them trying really hard. I bet their fucking toys do that too.
No, because I'm not even right down to me saying frickin', and I'm like, anybody that knows me knows damn well I wasn't.
Shoot me.
What's that?
So you ever hear me say darn or dang it? Like, just put me out of my misery. I'm done. I've had it.
And again, in the process of of improving in general, unintended consequences, but the spectrum of ridiculousness has really swung way too far to the left.
I think it's interesting too, especially when you look at the things that are on TV and the things that are acceptable in culture, but then you can't say the word shit.
Exactly.
And, in a century ago, the word fiddly poop and scootily pop and whatever the fuck they called it to have sex, that was like, I know she didn't just say they were bopping the bishop or whatever the fuck they say. And it was like, I know she didn't just talk like that. And then now we listen to it and we laugh at it. And so I just feel like fuck's going to be the same thing in a couple of centuries, if that. So
well, and when you really get right down to it, I mean, I remember watching a particular video where the word fuck can literally be taken
noun, verb, adjective.
Yeah, total dozens of different ways depending on what it's added to. And I do remember that, I mean, 80s, early 80s, maybe early 90s. I mean, like that type of profanity was like, and
Well, I mean, George Carlin's 7 words you can't say on TV.
Oh, I know George Carlin's a maniac. I love him so much. If he's not a comedic genius.
well, but his rawness is still appreciated.
Exactly.
But today,
So that's
it's
that same thing I put in my writing is that rawness, and I think that's what people appreciate.
Yep. And I go back to Eddie Murphy Raw. That was like one of my.
Oh my God, I grew up
that
on
was
that.
Yeah, one of my favorites. And you're not allowed anymore. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, and the only people that are allowed today are the ones that are grandfathered in.
Yeah, say the clout bearers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because they have that organic following
Which
where
I think is total bullshit because it's either fair across the board or then nobody needs to.
No,
do
and
it.
that's the whole point right there is that I don't see fair standards across the
No.
board because you've got these companies that they kind of rule everything, so
Yeah, and I
they're
run into
not
that quite a
allowing it.
bit.
What's that?
I run into that quite a bit with all the different industries that I work in, like the sex toy industry. I'm going to have a lot of freedom to say certain things and do certain things. I can't use fuck a lot, but you can a little bit, right? Because it connotates sex, and so the SEO picks it up like that, right? But then when I'm working with, like, say I'm working with the entrepreneurial shit, I'm not able to use any type of profanity at all, and it's just weird to me.
When they bend you over, you fucking turn around and say no. Okay, so moving on, business-wise, you have had to turn this into a legitimate business that is legitimately paying your bills, putting food
Bought
on
me a
your
house
table.
with it.
Okay. Scaling.
Yeah, that's something we were talking about last night, wasn't it? So
Yes,
it's
it
been on
was.
my mind all day. So this morning I was rushing, trying to get some work finished and answer some emails and do all this stuff, but I only had, and I'm thinking, well, I've got till 4:30, and then your ass calls and says, we're going to do this at 3, and I'm like, no problem.
Which is totally, I mean, Matt's going to fire it back at me, but I'm blaming Matt because Matt
your
called
fault.
and he was like, we had some issues. Tell her we need to back this up. Me and Trish are getting on the
We got it,
road.
man. No
So
problem.
I get it backed up and then it's, you're rushing me. Quit
He told
rushing
me,
me.
he was like, you don't need to be up here until at least 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to call Bacon, and I'll fill you in. So I stayed up until 2 in the morning waiting for this phone call.
And then he never did he?
And he never did.
Fucking men.
And then, after
was
I
your
get Trish,
fault.
we're driving, I'm like, I wonder if Dawn even knows about this.
Nope.
Dawn has no
You didn't
clue that
find
this is
out
even
at all?
happening at 1:30.
Hey,
And she showed up matching.
no,
me
but
like
that's what I'm
she
saying.
planned it.
But what happened? What happened?
Bab.
We figured it the fuck out.
That's right.
If ever, the inside joke there is that, again,
Every problem.
Yes,
That's the same
if we have a problem or if they bring me a future problem, because instead of focusing on what we're doing right now, they've got to look a week down the road and say, well, how are we going to solve this? It's, well, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. And they all have gotten to a point now where they know. And we have always figured it out, correct?
Who's we?
All of
That's
us,
what I wanted to
the team, the group.
I
Figuring
figure
shit
it
out.
Oh, are you? Are you?
Shit.
You know what? I'm not even going to touch that because I'm not because I'm sitting here going, I'm not going to take away Matt's thunder. I mean, he does. He will figure things out, but I'm sitting there going, I'm like many a time things have been like, okay, this is how we think we're going to figure it out. And I shoot holes in a couple pieces of it, and then I give suggestions. And when they do literally come together with a plan to execute, it's figured out in a better way.
Hey,
And that's a team.
I've learned a lot about running a business just by that unpredictable bullshit where you're in the groove and you're doing your thing and then something pops up. You're like, I didn't even know I needed to know this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're taking 3 hours Googling things and looking up things. And it's a self-education. And you really have to be stubborn, and you have to want it so fucking bad that like nothing can stop you.
So now you know what that's called, don't you?
Is it stubbornness?
No. The process that you just talked about.
No, what's that?
An autodidact.
Oh, okay. In big words, 2
Yes.
cent conversation.
Self-taught.
I knew you were going to come out with something.
I had to.
No, but it's a point of pride.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be in school to learn. In this,
I
you
taught
never
myself
did.
how to publish.
That's what I said. You never did, because there was always books that you could read. But in this day and age of the internet, like, okay, granted, if you're going to be a heart surgeon, they want you to get that piece of paper and their credentials. Much about outside of that, there is not much that the information is not out there for you to learn to do something without acquiring all of the debt that goes with the chart.
I wrote articles about this, about how this idea that you have to exit high school and go directly into college in order to do anything worthwhile in your life is complete bullshit, especially in the age of information, when the information is right there for you to find if you know how to look it up and have the time to do it and things like that. So college isn't the answer for everybody, I don't think. Even though I did go, I didn't graduate, but I did go, so I got a taste of it, and I know what it's about, but,
But it's not for everybody.
my life didn't begin until after I dropped out of college. So that's my story.
But that's the thing, is you didn't let any of that get in the way. You sought out the information, and you diligently kept working at it and working at it.
Yes, I knew no one was going to hand it to me, and I'm just the type, I like what I like. I'm going to get it one way or another.
Well, and I'll give you another one that I like. As I went through, I've seen so many people that they have to look for others to somehow motivate them.
Oh, that external motivating person.
Yeah. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, like Tony Robbins is like a master motivator. He is loved for his motivational speaking. But in my experience, the real entrepreneurs they have an internal motivation.
Yeah.
They don't need
Tony
the
Robbins.
external. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's that internal drive is like,
For people like us, Tony Robbins just sort of reiterates what we already think.
yeah, I'm not in a lot of ways. Because don't get me wrong, I know that Tony Robbins at this point, he coaches many high-profile entrepreneurs to take their A game and turn it into an A+ game, that it's not just motivating the masses, that he does specialized work with people.
Yeah.
I think that's been more of he's collected so much information from so many different industries, from so many different groups, that he's able to compile all of that knowledge and bring it to somebody.
I think as a whole, you're correct, though, that people who really want it, don't need that much motivation or anything external. And they, people who really want something, I think, would be afraid to rely on something external for fear that it would run out.
Yep. Well, and then you get right down to it. Like, that external motivation, that shit is expensive.
Yeah.
Like, the external motivation that I go after, and I feel like I beat a dead horse, and anybody that knows me from my childhood, they're like, I can't even believe this is coming out of this guy's mouth. But I read. I'm an avid reader. I cannot read enough. It is a must be. So. You don't know how to read? No, that's that right there saying that you don't have to know how to read in order to write, and something that just doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people are like, do you read a lot? And I'm like, I'm a fucking writer. What do you think I do? Yeah. So reading
that's just that they're just trying to break the ice with the 4'11".
I know, it must be just intimidating or something.
That's
right?
Well, don't get me wrong. That's when you're not short on words, but you are in fact actually short. Okay. That is there's a bombshell in a small package, and
that's why I drive a big truck.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah, because I like to surprise people and be like, "Oh, look!
You sure you're not trying to say, "Hey, I got a big dick"?
Well, that too.
Okay,
but I feel like that should be obvious because you should be able to see it in my jeans, like Tom Jones. Shit's heavy.
Like you need help whipping it out.
Yeah.
Bunk.
Yeah. like snow angels.
My third leg.
Yeah, it's my kickstand. I just don't like asking. I don't like waiting around for people to do things for me or asking people for help. I really don't. I know that's probably an issue, but
No, well, I mean, not waiting around for other people. I mean, that's that drive of an entrepreneur, to the fault of not being willing to ask for help, knowing what your limitations are, and not letting ego or pride get in the way.
So my not wanting to ask people for help thing is, before, when I get frustrated or I feel like I've got an obstacle in my way, a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction would be to, oh my God, let me reach out and see what I can do to help. But that's sort of what has caused me to go from one step to the next, is instead of reaching out, I found a way to handle it myself, thereby learning some new skills or some new part about myself I didn't know I had, and then just sort of carrying on with that next time. So then when the next obstacle came, it was like, oh shit, this ain't nothing, right?
There we go.
And so you just do that. So, and then I have this whole I don't want to impose on anybody thing. I want to be the one to help, not the one who needs help. And so I'm...
But because, I mean, I want to... How do you feel when somebody asks you for help?
I don't know that I feel anything.
You don't feel good about helping somebody?
Oh, yeah, I definitely feel good about someone.
So if you need help from somebody and you don't ask for that help, are you not robbing somebody else of the ability to feel good about helping you if you know they have the ability to help?
Sure, if I was surrounded by people who thought the same way I did.
Well, there are, because the thing is that's what the mind is so beautiful, wonderful, brilliant, complex, and then you have that ignorance is bliss, and those people just do not understand the power of the capabilities and the weapon that they have between their ears.
Yeah.
They never get in themselves to understand those things.
You have the givers and the takers, and and I'm a giver. I don't like
You
to take.
also have the deniers and the justifiers, and when you put that together and all of the different combinations that can come out of that.
Yeah, and so it's difficult sometimes to reach out for a network. So I think it's important to have a balance between reaching out for a network and having a network of people you can trust, and then just having a bit of independence and self-motivation, just in case.
Yeah, it's like, so I mean, like, what happens if you have...
What happens if you're 4'11" and you move out of state and you're trying to remodel a house and you don't have anything but a car? You fucking buy a truck and say, fuck that.
Okay, and you know what, which leads me, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was about ready to go down the whole rabbit hole of the givers and takers, deniers and justifiers, but when we get to all of this where, okay, I mean, obviously a car didn't get it, you want to run over some people, and
I mean, there's that element as well.
Okay, so... In all of your years, oops, was that me?
I'm sorry, I thought you just flipped me off or said something stupid to one of my kids.
So,
yeah.
So, in all of the years of writing, surely you've had to have experienced writer's block.
Oh, Lord. I got a prescription.
The struggle is real.
I got a prescription for writer's block because I have figured out my way around it. And so, I mean, it's a little bit of a metaphysical thing, and it's a little bit of a mental exercise, and it combines every element of the person. So you have the mental, emotional, and spiritual, and the physical. All these different emotions. And if you tap into that, you can get rid of writer's block most of the time. However, there are times when my brain is just fucking done delivering for a second, and because creativity is such an output, in order to get that output to continue, just like a car, you have to fill it with fuel. And so every now and then I do have to take a break and just do some shit that doesn't matter and it's just fun or just whatever.
The dopamine can't release 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah, that's...
And so, no matter how driven I am or how, entrepreneurial I am, there's just a certain level of I've got to tap out in order to deliver a product that's actually going to have my name on it, instead of, for the last month you've been giving us this generic bullshit. What's going on? And it's like, well, I just don't care enough to give myself a break. So here you go.
Well, but then we come back to the relationship you two have developed with Bacon. I don't think that anything has necessarily anything to do with her entrepreneurial goals or vision.
Talk to her now?
Huh?
Yeah.
Hey, I have been encouraging anybody. If you have a mic in front of you, if you have a mic in front of you,
I was questioning if you even breathe.
no, you
you
are
said
able
that.
to jump in
That's
at any
on it
point, but it is a podcast. Like we can't have like silence. If you've got something to say, you're welcome to chime in.
interrupt him
I
because
keep
there's
making
no-
my way
I know,
around.
he just
That's
doesn't
why.
even. He can't.
Okay.
He can't control.
I learned this.
I,
a long
you know,
time
no,
ago.
I've exercised a fair
So
amount
anyway.
of control
What's
here.
up, Trish? Our Trish.
Dawn.
The bougie blonde.
I know, it's
Okay,
hard because
the
you don't
bougie
see us
blonde's
every-
being a little bougie, but
I'm
hey,
gonna-
hey, silence the bougie
I'm
blonde.
close. You want me to
That's-
kick him?
Would you?
Yeah.
Can you read?
Can I reach?
Sorry,
I was waiting on it. I was waiting.
No, I follow you on Facebook.
Yeah.
One of your pages. I don't know if I'm in the million,
Yeah, O'Toolahan.
but I love everything that you post
I appreciate
and how
that.
raw you are. I've been kicked off from posting a lot of those.
Makes you
same
feel like
things.
you're in America, doesn't it?
Well, and I keep telling Jason that me and my girlfriend are going to do a podcast, and he doesn't really like it, but we've been talking about it long before this, but and it's going to be pretty raw.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
The world needs more of that, especially for
Hey Dawn, I
women.
can rent
Especially
you.
with
I
what's
can
going
rent
on
you a
we're
space
not
so that
talking
you
to-
can do. Yeah.
No, I
Talk
don't
to the
need
left,
this.
'cause
I
you
got
ain't
a cell
right.
phone. I am fine. I got a cell phone. Yeah. No, but